Hello there. It is Wednesday, May 20th. That's the date. 2015. Besides being Comic Book Day, it is actually the penultimate day of college for me. Tomorrow is my final in college. So pretty happy day. But that's tomorrow. Today is Comic Book Day, so let's start off with Convergence number 7. So we start off like last issue in the New 52 universe, where this great big rock guy, the Great Oracle, as he's called, realizes he can no longer see the future and gets really nervous about what that means. And of course, the rest of the New 52 world is a bit panicky by all this. Um, Also, I want to bring up, I really like the art in this issue. Really clean, bold colors and lines. I just really like the art in this issue a whole lot. And that actually goes for everything Convergence-wise this week. All very good, clean, nicely colored, saturated art. I really comic booky, but I really like it. So, yeah, and while the New 52 universe is kind of freaking out, the big superhero fight we were all kind of waiting for is finally breaking out on Telos. And again, just a beautiful page right here. Just the clean, nice clean lines, nice saturated blues and colors. It looks just, I really, it looks like, I guess, a comic book is supposed to look. It's just colorful and fun, big guys in tights, just great stuff. I especially love down here, you have Batman punching out Owlman, and Owlman, just the freaky eyes on his costume, because they look like someone who's like got punched, way too hard by the Batman. Um, and again, Batman with the blue cape and cowl. I just love this page. I love the colors and everything here. Um, and in the middle of this big fight, um, Telos finally returns after his 1.5 issue absence or whatever, and kind of turns the tide of the battle into the heroes' favor. But then stuff goes down. A lot of this issue is the big fight. We're finally, penultimate issue of Convergence. Big fight finally happens. By the end of this issue, there's one more thing to shake up everything. Um, but yeah, I really liked this single issue. Of course, my problem with Convergence is that it's taken um, this book 7 issues to do what Marvel's Secret Wars, for instance, did in a single issue. And it's not like the book has benefited from all of this setup. All of the setup could have been done in 1 or 2 issues before we got to this point. I'm mad that I wasted what's 4 times 6? $24 on story that really didn't amount to anything. Just a bunch of kind of fluff and useless exposition. When he could have just gotten to the good stuff and not lose anything in the process. So yes, I did like this issue. I liked it a lot, but I'm mad it took so long to get here. This really could have been issue like 2 or 3 for Convergence. So again, really, really disappointed in this entire event because it's finally getting good right near the end. So yeah, that's Convergence this week. Next up is Convergence Wonder Woman issue number 2, and yeah, not a lot to say here. We get the conclusion of the story set up in issue 1, where we have Wonder Woman versus the Vampire, Joker, and other Batman villains from Vampire World. I forget what it's called exactly. Again, art's really nice. I like how the Joker's face is basically made of rubber here. He's undead. He's just like has all these freaky proportions. And it's not just the art like looking freaky because he's right next to Wonder Woman, who's not a vampire, a lot more kind of normal looking. A lot less rubber face going on there. And Yeah, again, pretty standard fare. It's just kind of not Superman. It's a Wonder Woman fighting a whole bunch of vampires and werecats, trying to save Steve Trevor and all of her friends and all that, and of course the rest of Gotham City. Um, and long story short, she wins. She doesn't win entirely. Um, there are losses suffered, of course, but good wins out. There's a brief conscious crisis of conscience Wonder Woman has about killing the vampires because killing, but then again vampires. So she solves that one pretty quick. And again, just really really nice art through the whole book. Nothing really complicated, nothing extraordinary, nothing mind blowing, but a really good solid fight scene and solid conclusion to the story they started in the first issue. Again, it's a 2-issue story. You shouldn't go in expecting all that much, and for what you get, it's enjoyable. A lot more enjoyable than anything that happened last week. That goes for a lot of these books. This week's batch is way better than last week's batch. So, yeah. Again, nothing here is especially great, nothing especially mind blowing or thought provoking, but we get some nice fight scenes and things tie up pretty well. Things are concluded, which is nice. Things feel like, okay, yeah, that's the end. That's a good ending. Okay, there we go. I'm satisfied. And at the back of this book, we get a tease of Secret Six, which is 3 issues in at this point. This issue, the tease, I really enjoyed it. Things are finally kicking into gear with the Secret Six now that they're kind of out of the box and all that. So I'm excited to see where this story goes. And yeah, really good cover too. Next up is Convergence, Superman, or Adventures of Superman. And again, sort of the same sort of thing as Wonder Woman. We start off with Superman and Supergirl escaping the Phantom Zone that they were trapped in at the end of the last issue, and then go on to save Gotham or Metropolis from what is essentially the planet of the apes, the world of Kamandi, the last boy. So it's basically a bunch of Superman, Supergirl, and later Kamandi fighting a whole bunch of monkeys. And that's pretty good stuff. We get to see Kamandi in action. He is not completely useless, which is nice. When standing next to the Kryptonians. It's a bit of an extended fight scene. A bit too long when you're just comparing Superman versus a whole bunch of monkeys. But it's not unenjoyable. There's a part I think is always very important where you see Superman and Supergirl saving civilians. This is not just a fight. They're trying to protect everybody on Telos, even if it's the opposite city. So it's always nice to see the Superman, Supergirl team saving people, not just fighting people. I always like that. But again, pretty cut and dry, straightforward story. Superman punches a whole bunch of monkeys. Superman ends up winning. And yeah, then the Kamandi world, Kamandi, New York, gets swallowed up by Telos because they actually won, and so the losing city is lost. But there wasn't much to lose there because it was already taken over by all the evil monkeys. So not much going on. Not much mourning going on there. And that's at the end of this book. We get a sneak preview of Martian Manhunter. Not a lot going on. Very brief setup, very short tease. But I'm gonna pick up issue 1 because I like Martian Manhunter, and he's finally getting his own book, and I'm excited to see where it goes, especially because of something I'm not going to spoil in the preview. If you do want to read the previews at least for yourself, they should all be on DCComics.com. At least I've been looking at that for the previews. I haven't been, I've been getting all the books, so if I'm interested in any of the previews that I haven't been able to read from the back of the books, they're usually up online on DC Comics. I recommend if you're interested, you should check them out, read them in full. Next up is Convergence, The Flash, issue number 2. And this is probably the most, subversive of the Convergence tie-ins this week. Unlike the other books, this is not a straight-up fight. we do get a fight, and it comes kind of admittedly like for no reason. We start off with Barry Allen and the Superman of Earth number 9 just kind of talking it out. And the Superman of Earth 9 is, explaining himself. He's this hyper smart, hyper intelligent, super powered Superman guy, and he can kind of see the future and everything. And there's no way the Flash could stand up to him if he does choose to fight him. And Barry Allen's like, well, okay, that makes sense. But again, you could be bluffing. I'm just going to punch you. And so there's a really short fight it does feel like it's coming out of nowhere. It just feels like, well, we need an excuse to have these two punch each other. So we're going to have them fight a little bit. And then something interesting happens. Superman of Earth 9 was correct. He was like, I'm just going to stop your neurons from firing because that's a power I have, apparently. And then he notices that Barry Allen kind of doesn't fit in any time stream. He's like removed from time. And I guess that's a very Slaughterhouse 5 way to put it. But yeah, Barry Allen is removed from time due to the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths. Superman of Earth 9 realizes, well, if I kill this Flash, then Crisis of Infinite Earths will happen and he won't be there to sacrifice himself to stop it. So he talks himself into submission. He realizes that the Flash is more important than him and decides, well, okay, I'm just going to give up. And he talks himself into submission. Flash wins by default, essentially, and we're left with kind of Barry Allen dealing with all this new information that he is very, very important and doesn't yet know why, but he has a resolve to, face it head on. Again, nothing much going on. It's just kind of one character monologuing himself to death, quite literally. But not offensive. It's not bad. It's an interesting read as you're reading it. It's a little unfulfilling just because of what it is, but what it is makes sense for the comic. It's not suddenly this, and you're disappointed. It's, oh yeah, no, that's how this would end. That's like the reasonable, logical conclusion to this character meeting this other character. So you can't really complain much about that. And then there's a tease of the Suicide Squad at the back of this book, and short story short, not really interested in picking it up. But again, if you're interested in yourself, you can totally find a review online. And the last DC Convergence book this week is Batman and the Outsiders, issue number 2. We left off with OMAC attacking the Gotham City that the Outsiders are in. We find out that OMAC is not in control of himself. He's being mind controlled by the godmother or grandmother, whatever her name is. And this is a very straight out fight scene again. It is Batman and the Outsiders kind of being pulled away from the lives that we saw them in the previous issue. And that's a nice little callback. I think it's really important that we're not just going from issue 1 to issue 2 without any repercussions. We're seeing very shortly, very briefly, they only have a couple pages to do this, but we do see them being pulled away from their previous lives under the dome. Of course, that's the most jarring with Metamorpho, with Rex, who has to kind of climb out of sexy bath time with Sapphire, and he's kind of dragged by his feet back into being a superhero and defending the city, which he doesn't want to do. His power is like the most cursed of all the others. But midway through the book, we're in full Outsiders versus OMAC action. It's a straight up fight scene. It's really good. All of the heroes are used. Everyone shows why they're important to the team, except for Katana. Actually, Katana gets the short end of the stick here. We also see OMAC fight back. He's like, please just defeat me. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not in control. And everybody is important. Everybody contributes to the fighting. It's a well done fight scene. Despite the number of combatants we see what everyone's doing. Like I said, everyone contributes. No one is kind of lost in the fray. And the art, again, I really enjoy it. I'm just gonna go back to that one spread. I really love the art in this book. I love just Batman with the big blue cape and all that. So yeah, really, really fun book. Probably my favorite of the Convergence books this week. And at the end of this, we get a sneak preview of Batman Beyond, which could go either way. One thing that really struck me about Batman Beyond is the art style. It looks very... It looks like the intro to the Batman Beyond cartoon, if you remember that. Everything kind of has a weird metallic sheen on it. But yeah, it's just really unique art for a comic book. And I kind of want to see where the story goes because it is very post-apocalyptic, and I want to know what's going on with Batman Beyond 35 years in the future. And so that is the Convergence books for this week. I pretty much enjoyed them all. Can't really complain. Each of these stories had 2 issues to really do anything with, which isn't that much. They managed this week to pull stuff out that's satisfying. Again, not amazing, but satisfying if you were keeping up. Again, nice to see all these characters again. So that's pretty much it. If you're interested in the Marvel books I picked up this week, a lot of them having to do with Secret Wars, or a couple Image books I picked up this week. Those will be in different videos that will be uploaded after this one. So yeah, if you're interested in watching those, I recommend subscribing, and then every week, it just pop up on your subscription feed on YouTube. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Any comments, whatever, leave them down below. And thank you for watching, and I'll hope you'll join me next time.